Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. Okay, so, y'all, let me just tell y'all that I have been doing research and, we've been talking about astrology and whatnot, and it's so many different types of astrology, and there's actually over 100 types of psychology. Yes, I was shocked to find that out. I thought it was like just, the traditional Western, the Chinese, the Vedic. It's crazy. They even have something called locational astrology, where it basically goes into locations actually having spirits or energy or destinies, and that actually makes sense because I always say that Newark is a special place. I feel that a lot of people who make it for whatever reason have to come through this area. Like, they have to be blessed with this tap water. I always say it's something in our water that makes us like blessed and special, something here. And I feel like that about a lot of other places. If you think about it, and I always say this, as far as like the black cities, the major cities in the country, this is where most or all of the house music came from. You have Baltimore, Chicago, all the places, Philadelphia. These are black cities and they're popular locations. So, and like I said, everything that I'm going to be discussing, you're going to be able to look it up and Google it for yourself. I'm not pulling this stuff out of thin air. You can ask anybody who is more versed in these things than me, and they can confirm what I'm saying, because I'm not gonna ever record something that I didn't research. Okay, so like always check behind me. But because we're going into astrology, I wanted to just point out that there are different types of astrology, and I wanted to kind of just go over some of them to, just give the audience a different perspective on the many different things that, affect us. Now, the most popular ones to us are the Chinese, the Vedic, and the Western astrology. And even within those astrology types, there are subtypes, right, within those sects, right? So when we start to dive into this, I just want to be able to take account into all of those things. So when we start doing these charts and we start pulling up the information, I want to be able to use multiple systems, because what we know as astrology, I'm not going to say it's BS, but it's kind of BS. You have some systems that are a lot more complex, a lot more calculated, and a lot more accurate than what we know to be astrology, right? We just look at this astrology, it just has this 12 horoscopes, right? Is according to the months of the year, and these systems are basically in congruence to the planetary positions, especially the sun, the moon, and Mercury, right? And a whole bunch of other moving parts in the cosmos, right? But then when you go to Chinese astrology, it's broken down according to the calendar. So And these calendars are based on years, which are given animals, right? They're given names of animals. They have animals assigned to them by the year. So these systems are basically going on a different time, because the year is counted as a whole, as where in Western astrology is breaking that 1 year down into multiple parts. You see what I'm saying? And the base and the root and the history of both of these systems are different, right? And then when you go into Vedic, it's a little more, I would say, precise and complex because it actually uses mathematical equations, and it basically personalizes your it personalizes your basically your birth chart, right? It's more precise because of the mathematical calculations that are being used to come up with whatever they're looking for. In some cultures, and specifically with Vedic, because I know in India this is a system that's relied upon a lot more heavily than even Chinese astrology, but more so in Vedic. This astrology is actually used, and they have people that they go to give them guidance. I mean, for their lives, right? They're like, okay, I was born on this day, and this particular planet was in this position when I was born. You're going to, use some numbers, put the numbers together, the time that I was born and, some other numbers, and you come up with these calculations, and depending on those numbers, you would say, okay, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a scientist, you're going to be a homemaker, you're going to be a farmer based on those numbers. And now this is with Vedic, and it's taken a lot more seriously in other cultures, astrology. So I just want to go into this and really, really go into it with an open mind and a better understanding of astrology as a whole, because there are so many different types of astrology, and this is not me just trying to prove a point. Like, this is me looking to understand things that really don't make sense. And it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because we don't know the details, right? We need to know where this thing come from. Like, what's the history of all of this? So I just want to, like I said, go into this before we start doing birth charts, before we start breaking down the zodiac signs. I want to go into the planets first because it'll make it easier to understand the planets and what they mean in other sets of astrology, right? Because obviously I'm talking right now, for now, I'm talking to people in America, American people who are in my culture. We share the same culture, and we don't follow Vedic and Chinese, right? So obviously that's what we're going to be focused on. But in respect to, the study, in respect to the craft, I think that it's important to have a better understanding of the different types of astrology. So when we do go into doing the birth charts and we're doing compatibility, different types of compatibility tests, it's easier to have the conversation because we've already gone over the moving parts, as it relates to all types of astrology and not just Western. And like I said, even within the Western astrology, there are different types, and we're not really going to delve into that because it's going to take away from the point. But I think, I think the point is made that there are different types of astrology, and we have so much to learn about. And it'll help us because each of these different types of astrology bring a different perspective. And they're all coming from basically the premise of planetary alignment and how it affects us and how things can manifest down in the connection between humans, the universe, and everything moving, right? Everything living. So this basically just brings it back to, what we've been discussing the whole time, like what's connecting everything to everything, because everything is connected. Everything is connected. Nothing here is living without oxygen, water, nitrogen, or carbon, right? So we have to come from some source that allows us to need those things, or we're all coming from a different place, and because we're here, those things are required for life to be sustained here. So either way, it's a lot of different, questions that are being unanswered. And I know a lot of people have different types of research and different fields of study, and they've come up with different things, but there's so many different conclusions for everyone. Like, everyone has their own conclusions. So why is that? Why is that? Why is it that we all don't have the same thing if we come from the same place? What does all of this mean? So I figured that was the main reason why the Most High gave me this particular topic, to kind of start using that as another way to start gauging, where do we connect? How are we all connected? Why are we all here, just in this, this system where we pretty much do need each other to survive. I mean, there's no way we would be able to survive here without one another. And I do believe some of us asked to come here, but in waking reality, none of us asked to be here. Like, we didn't say, okay, I'm here, and I'm, like, in life. So that's the thing, that I want to just focus on. Pretty much, just let's try to figure out what connects us all. And of course we know it's God, but a lot of people don't believe in God. A lot of people don't think that God exists. A lot of people have questions, and things don't make sense to them, right? We all have been given a different level of intellect and discernment and perception, right? So we all have our own understanding of life and the Creator and just how everything works. And we all have different paths, and it's going to affect how we perceive, how we behave, and just how we are and our entire being overall. So I think it's important I just wanted to start out with first saying that there are different types of astrology, and this horoscopes with the 12 zodiac signs is just one type. And before we move forward with those, I wanted to go over the other types of astrologies, at least Chinese and Vedic, so we could be able to use all of those things for sake of this conversation, right? That's basically what this topic was about. Because like I said, I know a lot of us, we're here in America, we're American, we only observe Western astrology. So in theory, you would probably believe that it doesn't make sense to go over those other types of astrology, but I'm telling you that we're going to, because it's going to make sense later. And we're going to talk about the planets first, because the planets are important to each of the three. So yeah, that's what this topic was about. But I just wanted to also say that today was one of those days that I didn't want to record. I didn't feel like recording, but I just had to, because I know we have to keep this thing going. So yeah, that was for somebody. If you don't feel like doing something, just still do it anyway, because you have to do it, and then you're gonna feel good that you did it when you're done, right? So yeah, I'm gonna get up out of here. I feel good now. I hope y'all are doing good. I hope y'all are minding y'all business, eating y'all fruit, drinking y'all water, and sipping on y'all tea, because it's free. Alright, I love y'all. And I'm gonna start hitting the streets, and we're gonna take this thing mobile. We are gonna do a speed dating event. I just want to organize some things and do this first, so this could make sense later, okay? But yeah, I love y'all, and God bless everybody. And I'm gonna get up out of here. Peace.